Hi, Andy Malafarina.
What's up, Corey? How you doing, bro?
How's it going, man? You know, I've been looking forward. I've been looking forward to just having a goofy one. Like
Yeah, just
a
a,
real silly goose. We don't really know each other very much,
a
but I
real,
know we have some mutual friends, and I know that you're also a silly goose because I've heard you on some things, and I
yeah,
know I'm in the mood right now to be kind of a goofball. So let's just start it out. What's up, dude?
dude. I'm always down to be a silly goose, man. That's like I at the end of the day, because like I get, we're all into politics, we're all into our opinions and all this other shit, and at the end of the day, I'm all about being a silly goose, because like
Right.
giggling's way more fun than fucking figuring out what the fucking best opinions are and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I,
I'd
I
rather
just
just I'd rather just giggle over dumb shit.
did you see the I did an episode with Rob Cruz recently, and I named
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I
Rob's
named the
funny as
episode.
fuck.
I named the episode "Goose Shit" because that's all we wanted to do was just become silly goose.
Yeah, dude.
Well, geese, silly geese, I guess.
Yeah, I think technically it would be silly geese, but it ain't. It's whatever you want it to be, bro.
So, how long have you been in the area?
Jersey. I've been in Jersey for about 2 years. 2 years? Yeah, 2 years now. And then before that, it was PA. I like Jersey a lot. It's like more expensive, which is annoying, but there's just more shit. Like the one thing I noticed immediately moving to Jersey is like PA, where I lived in PA, right outside like Allentown, Bethlehem area. If you guys know where that is, there's like a shit ton of Chinese places, and then I remember there being like one Thai spot, and then like one Japanese steakhouse, and like
Mhm,
here. There's like I'm a stone's throw away from like a bunch of different type of like Asian cuisine, like Vietnamese,
mhm.
uh, I guess Japanese, Chinese. Yeah, there's a dude actually there's a sushi place right down the street from me. You know what I mean? It's just there's so much more. And then besides Asian cuisine, there's so much more shit around here. I immediately go to all the food there is.
Yeah, my brain wouldn't have went there, but I mean, if it's mentionable, then mention it.
Yeah, well, food. I'm a big. I mean, besides just being kind of fat, like I'm a fucking foodie. I guess I didn't think I was because like the term's so negative now. And then
Mhm.
like my buddy broke it down for me, and he's like, "No, you are a foodie. Like you're always posting about it. You're always into like different shit. Like, and I get hyped about food, but not just like I'm like the least pretentious foodie because I will get like I'll get hyped over like a McDouble, but then also whatever like the fancy thing is too. I just love all kinds of food, no matter how good or how bad it is for you.
I get that way about like pro wrestling stuff, and I mean I'm bringing that up because I noticed that you're also like a pretty big mark.
Well,
So
that's where we actually that well not like met because I don't think we had like too many conversations, but that's where we first sort of met was doing the work rate entertainment shows, right?
you did this?
Yeah, dude, I commentated them
I
for
I
like
don't. Okay, I didn't. I forgot or whatever. I wasn't. I don't think I only worked there once, and I did the match with Tommy.
yeah, you did that. Well, I remember it. I remember it so vividly. Trust me, there was a bunch of dudes that I probably talked to that I can't remember. I remember you so vividly. Well, one, I edited all the footage,
Okay,
and two, you had the spot where you like picked up one of the kids,
right,
and and had the kid kick the other wrestler, and I thought
right.
it was just like the most creative spot. It made me laugh so hard. I was like, I gotta post this on Instagram.
I forgot about that completely.
Dude, it was I remember being like, that was so goddamn clever. It made me laugh so fucking hard.
Oh, if anything ever makes me viral, that should have
that
been it.
had the definite potential.
Well, what the coolest part about it was, and why I take so much pleasure in some of the things I do within within the wrestling business is that that kid apparently told somebody he was like the fire marshal's kid or something like that, and the guy like bragged about it a bunch and was like super impressed and excited about that happening, and it like what made an impression on that kid,
Oh
and
yeah, dude.
and he'll have that story for the rest of his life.
That's gonna be a fucking story forever.
Right.
Especially
Like,
too, like
he probably embellished it. I'll kick the crap out of that guy. I didn't.
yeah, you know how cool he was at school the next day, dude. He's
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, what'd you guys do this weekend? You fucking play sports in your backyard. I helped a wrestler beat up another guy. You know what I mean? Like you probably made that kid fucking weak
Yeah.
or
I hope
his
so.
goddamn ear probably. No, that was that was fun. I miss doing that shit. I'm sure. I mean, you got a lot more wrestling on the books than I do, but like I doing that work rate entertainment. Shouts out to Keikoa Hawaiian Warrior down in fucking hopefully tearing it up in Florida right now.
Yeah.
But no, he started
And
doing.
congrats on being a dad now.
Oh
Also.
yes, yeah, very
He's
very
been a
new.
guest on this show before too, but way back when I first started it. So
Oh, nice. But yeah, brand new father, Kikoa. But no, he had his own wrestling company in PA, and because I like you said, I'm a big mark, and I just wanted to do anything wrestling. I didn't even know what. I just literally was like, I hit up Kay. I was like, I don't know because I can't wrestle. I can't wrestle. All I'm good at is like hopefully being entertaining and being funny. So I was like, dude, whatever you need. Like, and then he eventually got me on commentating, and I was like, hell yeah. Cause like, I didn't expect to ever do anything even like an inch in the wrestling business besides watch wrestling. So the fact that Kay was asking me to commentate, it just felt like bonus points. So I was like, absolutely. And after doing one show, the first show I did was like kind of rough. It was like intimidating, but it was still, I had one of those moments where I was like, oh shit, I love doing this. I never realized. And then, cause like, I don't like outside of doing stand-up comedy, I don't get to be like a character like that. Like when I'm on stage doing stand-up, I can be I'm still like myself, but I'm like an exaggerated version of myself. But like doing the commentating, I could just be a complete character. And it
yeah,
was so fun. It
like
was unbelievably fun. And it was so much, it was on a different level because like I said, I didn't realize I was gonna like it. I just did it because Kay was like, "Could you do this for me?" And I'm just there to help. So of course I'll do it for you. It ended up being so fucking fun. It was ridiculous.
have you done commentary for anyone else?
No, because like you know, Corona started, so work rate ended. Keiko moved down to Florida. I don't really have any other. I'm sort of like letting that, just happen however it ends up happening.
Right.
Because it's like if you pay attention to me for 5 minutes, I like wrestling. So hopefully down the line, I just kind of put that energy out into the world. Something will get figured out. You know what I mean? Because I'll be
Andy,
around.
let's do something, man. Let's do something where we're like calling indie matches that like don't have commentary on. And like we'll put them on Twitch or something. Let's do something. Let's have fun with it because I love commentary. I love doing commentary too.
Yeah. It's so fucking fun.
Are you buds with Marin?
Say again?
Matt Marin?
Matt Marin, yeah, doing a comedy Fight Club.
Yeah. What was that experience like for you?
Doing comedy Fight Club?
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's really fun, but it is exhausting. Like doing those roast battles and shit. It's
Yeah. I think it's just the joke writing exercise is the funnest part. Like it's like, well, this is a joke that's specific for this day and this time that the people here are going to understand, and like
yeah.
no one else in any other context in any other room is going to hear this material again or have that make any other sense to them. So that's what the way I took it, as that fun little exercise for writing.
It's definitely a very unique writing experience because you put a lot of work into, like when you're up there for 5 minutes and then Sorry about that. When you're up there for like 5 minutes and then you're never gonna use those jokes again. And like
Right.
for me, some dudes, some dudes, or dudes and chicks and everything, when they do it, you can see they kind of just like they kind of like, all right, what do they look like? What do I know about them and this and that? Well, half the time I've done them, I don't know the person, so like I'll look them up. Like the first one I did was this against this very funny comic, Amama Sardar, and she was on a bunch of podcasts. So I ended up listening to like 4 or 5 podcasts that she was on, and and no, because I'm just remembering. There's this moment you did them, right?
Yeah. I did one with Stephen Bulls.
No, I don't know his name.
He's got long hair. He wears a big bun as well, just like you and me. But
Oh, okay.
we got Stephen McLonghair on social media. Matt set it up for us to do one, and I was like, you know what, just do an episode of the podcast. So we just sat here bullshitting for a while, and then he destroyed me.
Oh, really? Oh, you guys just like interviewed each other?
Yeah, we just hung out, man. We just did one of these, just hung out, and then
that's probably like the best way to do it. That's what me and Sean Gardini, when we were preparing for our headline match, we just like were texting back and forth, and like it was just real. It's real, because like it's funny too, because Sean's a fucking sweetheart, and like I have a cat with only 3 legs. And like I'm texting him and telling him like, oh, by the way, my cat, he's got 3 legs. People find something for that a lot of time, and he's just, I find out Sean's an animal lover, and he's like, oh, 3 legs, poor boy, what happened to him? And this, you like really, the same thing happened with a mama, messaging her back and forth. You get to like know these people, so now like I'm really good friends with Sean now. Like we just had him on our podcast, Panties in the Mouth, and like we end up being at a like we've what the fuck, being at like one show or two, actually doing Comedy Fight Club. I end up seeing Sean a decent amount because they ask us to judge. They've asked us to like judge once or twice now. But yeah, dude, it's like a lot of work. So I always try to. I was talking. I think it was Sean. Yeah, I was talking to Sean about this the other day. Half the reason I prepare so much for those is because I'm horrified of the car ride home. Because I don't want to bomb my dick off and just be, because dude, half the time any of time I've done that, the car ride's been a minimum of like hour and a half. You know what I mean?
Right,
so I don't want to, and usually there's always like, there's always like people you respect, like fuck it, like last time I judged, who was it? Sean was judging. They had Ming Chen from Comic Book Men, which I thought that was cool. I loved watching that show. And then Sidney Gant out of Philly. So it's like all dudes I like and respect. So it's like if you go up there and like bomb your dick off and you're like, damn, Sidney Gant knows I fucking stink. Sean knows I stink. And or who the fuck? I'm trying to remember who judged my battle, but I knew like there was always these like there would always be a bunch of comics I respected. So I was more worried about bombing and then like the judges being like, oh, like this is the first time they fucking see me. They're like, oh, I guess Andy stinks at comedy.
No,
like,
it's I wouldn't look at it that way, dude. I would look at it like going back to exactly what we said. It's 5 minutes worth of material that you're just gonna use once for that specific thing, and like it's not a reflection on all your material. It's just a reflection on that type of material and that like that stinging way that you have to like deliver it in a very mean, deliberate sort of way, or like it's not you as a comic, it's you as a person who is exchanging insults.
True. Yeah. And I don't know. I also too I get really in my head about it and I overthink it, and I also I internally I don't know if people consider me consider me a good roaster or whatever, but I internally take pride in my roasting, so I get like really serious about it. Like back to Sean, like Sean's only 23, so one of the things I do before I actually text the person and get to know them, I just find their Facebook and I just go through their Facebook, and it gets fucking weird because Sean, he's 23. It's not that long ago he was in middle school, and he like started using Facebook early in his life. So I just hit a point where I'm like, oh, I'm just looking at pictures of Sean as a child.
You're self-roasting.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, oh God, I'm way too deep on this child's Facebook. She's like, but you're like, I gotta sit there and I gotta figure out what he looks like and fucking.
You gotta think of like he looks like this, and this. It's got to be like, you got to compare it to something.
Actually, shout out. You said you had Rob Cruz on, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a fucking when I headlined with Sean. He actually him and Cody, right? That's his co-host.
Yeah. Cody, right?
Dude, him and Cody had a fucking brutal match. Like, because they're best friends and they do the podcast and they know everything, and they were going. And I actually got self-conscious because I was like, I don't know if my jokes are mean. No, not even like, well, partially, but also like, I was like, I don't know if my jokes are fucking mean enough.
Right.
Because their jokes were fucking vicious. It was crazy.
Yeah, dude. I did one where I think Cody was there, and I felt like weird because it was one of the roast battles where like when you get there, you see them and you meet them, and you have to like put them down, and it's like,
yeah,
I'm like, I'm already like. To people who are fans of a roast battle, who are coming to watch a roast battle, I'm probably not the people that they're excited about. Like, I don't like to go, oh, this guy's got muscles and nice hair and he's handsome. We don't want to like him. We don't want to cheer him on to be mean to somebody. So I was like, all said very humbly, because these are all things that to me don't equal a funny person.
You think you're too sexy for roast battles, Corey?
Is that the impression that I'm giving?
I'm fucking with you. That's so funny.
So I just did it was Vegas. The guy's name was Vegas. I don't remember his last name, but he was going through people, and then it was my turn to go up, and I was like, my idea going into it, I was like, I'm going to be overly nice and say very complimentary things because I don't think anyone else is doing that. So I said very much things like, you seem like you're very considerate of anybody else who lives with you to like clean up after yourself. You're probably a very generous lover. And I was saying all this nice stuff, and the guy was like, and like nobody was like popping for any of it. And I was like, wow, that sucked. I bombed. And then
probably threw him for a loop. They're probably like, why is he complimenting him?
And then he goes, well, you look like, which this is like a roast. He said, like, you look like Aquaman saw Johnny Depp's stylist or something like that. And I was like, thanks. Like, I did one of them. But, everybody took it as like it was insulting to me. But like, maybe that was what they were all thinking. But I thought it was cool. I liked it. I like that compliment. I think that's a compliment.
Which Aquaman? Because if you compared me to Jason Momoa, like I'm taking that as a compliment. But if you're comparing me to like cartoon Aquaman, where he looks like a Ken doll, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I think he was talking about the Jason Momoa one. Which Jason Momoa and Johnny Depp are both cool and handsome, and I'll take it.
You look like a super hot guy that dresses like a cool guy. Like what? Johnny Depp dresses like the cool artsy guy we all wish like we could get away with.
Like you wish you could pull that off. Like
really? It's like don't get me wrong. The way Johnny Depp dresses is lame on 99% people.
Yeah, like if you see someone wearing like a vest and like a hat, like like a cowboy hat or like a Abraham Lincoln hat. What a nerd.
Yeah. But Johnny Depp, he hits it out of the fucking park. He crushes it. Yeah, dude, he dresses. I'm looking him up right now. He dresses like a dickhead, but he looks great. It's so dude. Like he even rocks. Because I hate. You ever see the dudes who rock like the perfectly circular glasses? Like,
right?
You know,
like
you know who?
Like in Secret Window.
Secret Window.
Yeah, that was the Johnny Depp movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I only ever look at his Google images. I've never seen the movies. No. But no, if you ever see a dude who, oh yeah, kind of like that. But I've seen it more so now where it's like the two lenses are perfect circles. I always go, oh, you probably think you're smarter than everyone, like dudes who rock those.
Well, it also reminds me of, I think of, you remember the Master of Disguises that was like Dana
With
Carvey,
yeah, Dana Carvey.
and he did the, what, am I too not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? It was just only in the trailer, and he had these like circular glasses on. And anytime I ever see
Yeah.
anybody with circular glasses, I think of the Turtle Club guy.
Yo, I don't want to see that as an adult because I remember when I saw it as a kid, it fucking was the best. And I know it's gonna stink. I know it's gonna like be awful, but I'm like, I'd rather keep that memory of it being the greatest. Because
Dude,
I've had that with some movies. Have you done that where like I've done it with my wife where I was like, you gotta watch this movie. And then I show it to her and I was just like, oh shit, it doesn't hit the same way.
well, I think some of the movies that I just loved like so much was that I can quote them all the time, and I can memorize them, and I can dissect them. I can think of like why that's meaningful and all that stuff. So I showed Wayne's World to one of my girlfriends of the past, and she was like not laughing, and she was like,
Yeah.
I can see why you like this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the same with like Dumb and Dumber or like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Tommy Boy, all those movies that, or Biodome, which I brought up on the episode that I recorded yesterday.
Oh, that's Brendan Fraser, right?
Biodome is Pauly Shore and one of
No,
the Baldwin brothers.
I'm thinking I got
Encino
Polly
Man.
Shore because I'm
Okay,
thinking
yeah,
Encino Man. Yeah,
you're
I
right,
haven't
right, right.
actually. You know what? I don't think I've seen Biodome. Yo, you know which one? You know which one my wife did to me that ended up being like a big fucking whiff was Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. That
Oh yeah.
one, yeah, because they literally have like they have parts where he's got an interior designer just
Mm-hmm.
going around, and literally the joke is like he's gay, and you're
Right,
like there's nothing more to the joke, and you're just like,
right.
this just doesn't hit the same, dude. It just doesn't
Yeah,
hit the same.
I mean, I don't think that the Eddie Griffith stuff, eating a sandwich in the hot tub and the tomatoes floating up and him eating them, that's not the funny. Like that's just that's something that happened. It didn't necessarily make me laugh, but maybe
Yeah,
their test audience laughed.
yeah, maybe. Well, also too, it's like I've had that where you know that there's stuff like back in the day that like you were like, this is the peak of comedy, but it was just because like the sensibility of the time was different. You know what I mean? And but
Mhm.
now, it's just, you grow up and you get, and like life just, the society changes, yada yada yada, and just things don't hit the same. It's not necessarily like, I don't know, it almost just becomes like you almost have to tell people, you're like, just for context, that ruled in 2010. But it just doesn't hit the same in 2020.
Okay, so like examples that I'm thinking of. I I loved Bill and Ted, Bill and Ted 1 and 2. I love those. Like Bogus Journey and Excellent Adventure. I can quote them all day. Huge fan. Then Bill and Ted 3 came out, and I was like, oh man, I've been waiting for this my whole entire life. So I'm watching it and just going like, I'm just grateful that I have this. I'm just really grateful that I've had this. I've been waiting for this my entire life, and here it is, and I can watch it at my house. And I like got it like the day that you can get it. I bought it because I was like, I just want to support that this has happened, and I
Yeah.
get to now watch it. And I watched it, and it was like,
Yeah.
hmm.
I didn't go for the third Bill and Ted one because like usually like now especially right now, I'm spending a lot of my free time like podcasting or streaming or like practicing my drums or whatever. So like when me and like if I have enough time to like sit down and watch a movie, I'm usually doing it with my wife. So, and she hasn't seen, I don't think she's even seen the Bill and Ted movies. If she did, it was forever ago. So I
Right.
feel like trying to make her watch 3, like I'm not even that invested in Bill and Ted. So trying to make her watch 3 would probably be just not a good move. So, and I saw the trailer. And I was just like, this is probably not great. I remember for me at least, I don't know if there's any hardcore Bill and Ted fans out there that it fucking ruled. But also too, how do you feel about Keanu Reeves? Because Keanu Reeves is one of those dudes who like I love him so much, but also he's not a good actor. Like he's got this weird thing though where like you watch him and he's just like he's not a good actor, but I can't. Like I loved what's the one like You Killed My Dog, John Wick.
Yeah, I
Love
didn't see.
John Wick.
I didn't see those, honestly. I've seen bits and pieces of them. I think it's neat. Everything seems like it's one shot. I think that's neat. There's a lot of music. There's a lot of action. There's not a whole lot of dialogue. That's probably why you don't have to favor his acting, because there's not a lot of acting in it. It's a lot of just action and drive.
Yeah.
Shoot, jump.
There's this
Shoot,
thing with
shoot, shoot.
Keanu Reeves. There's this thing with Keanu Reeves where you're just like, when he starts acting, you're like, I don't know if you've heard people talk. Like that's not that's not like, do you ever no the best example of that onto another actor who is a bad actor, but I'll watch him in anything he does is Mark Wahlberg. Like the quintessential scene of how bad he is at acting was in the M. Night Shyamalan movie he was in, The Happening, where the lady was down in the basement and she's like, you got whatever she was saying. She was like, you guys are trying to kill me. And he's like, what?
Wait, what?
No.
Yeah.
No. And like, I'm not just reciting the lines. Like that's how he said it.
Right.
And
yeah.
But like, bro, I will watch, but I don't know why. He's similar to Keanu Reeves. They're just so fucking likable. I will watch him in any goddamn thing he does.
Me and my girl watched Rockstar last night. Have you ever seen that? 2001, Mark Wahlberg.
I have, but not in a really long time. Rockstar. I remember loving Rockstar.
It's on HBO Max.
Because I loved Rockstar because that's what I wanted to happen to me. Because we said it before the podcast. Well, if you're watching the video, you can see I just got an electric drum kit, and I used to play the drums a shit ton, especially in high school and stuff. So like my dream was, oh fuck, if I like my favorite rock band pulled me out of the crowd and they were like, play this song, and then for the like however Rockstar fucking went, and they're like, now I'm the drummer of my favorite rock band. Like fuck, when I was in like 9th grade, I went to go see Green Day, and they did that thing. Like Green Day, every show would bring a fan up to like play each instrument. It was wild. So I remember I was like, is this when it's happening? Or is Green Day gonna ask me to be their drummer?
Oh, what a glorious Green Day that would be.
Yeah. The best Mark Wahlberg is Boogie Nights, though. That's the funniest not meant to be funny movie ever.
Yeah, I don't think I think maybe I've watched it one time. I don't.
It's the one where he plays.
I know exactly what it is, but I don't.
Oh, okay.
I just don't. I don't think I care that much.
You don't want to see Mark Wahlberg be a male porn star?
Not really. I mean, I saw it. I saw the movie. It's not my favorite.
Oh wait, no. Well, yeah, I was trying to think. Oh yeah, no, he does straight porn, and then at one point, okay, I was just trying to remember. I couldn't. Sorry, it's just there's so many like it's just Mark Wahlberg not being a good actor and saying like hilarious porn phrases and shit. And then who's the dude who the dude in that movie? He tries to. It's my favorite part. I always forget his name.
Louis Guzman?
No, the chubby white guy.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman. And he's got that one part where he shows Dirk Diggler his new car, and then he's like, "Do you like it? Do you like it, Dirk?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a cool car. It's a cool car." And then he like leans over and tries to kiss him. He's like, "Whoa, what the fuck are you trying to do?" And he's like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm such a fucking idiot. I'm such a fucking idiot, man. It's like a fucking bit. Whenever I mess something up around the house, I'm just go to my wife. I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm just a fucking idiot. I'm just a fucking idiot, man." Yeah, that movie's dude, like there's so many good goddamn lines because like they want him to do the scene, but he did too much like coke or whatever, so he can't get his dick hard, or something. I forget what it was, but he's like, no, it's my scene, it's my big fat cock. I want to do it now. It's just like, dude, what is this movie? Boogie Nights rules. Boogie Nights fucking rules.
Hang on one second. Dan from next door is coming over to look at the cover proposal. Right now. Oh.
Dan's coming over?
Dan's coming over from next door to take a look at the garbage disposal because it's been not working.
Oh shit.
Well,
hopefully
clogged every day. So the thing that I laughed hard about when I think of Philip Seymour Hoffman, dude, great actor. I used his scene as a monologue for auditions from Almost Famous. That monologue when he does the whole "don't make friends with the rock stars," that whole all that. I loved it, but talking about the part that made me laugh out loud was when along came Polly. He was at the basketball court and he said, "Hope you douchebags brought your A game," and he pegs the basketball. That made me laugh so hard. And I don't know. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I don't know if I've ever seen that movie, but I remember that the trailer for that movie was like iconic because there's just that scene where the fucking hairy dude just rubs his face all over Ben Stiller.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. I was getting that.
Oh, okay.
So, that's the basketball game that Philip Seymour Hoffman got them into, and the Ben Stiller that scene when that happened. I remember seeing it in the theater, so I went from laughing like that big to like just a couple minutes later, like I was like, oh, like it was like a jerk reaction, like I was about to throw up. Like it was so good for them for being able to. They probably did that to a lot of people besides me.
Yeah,
but like
that scene's got a lot of range in it. You go from fucking laughing to want to vomit. I remember the only time that had ever, because like I don't do you cry during movies?
Not really. I mean, I want to. I always do. I always like feel it like happening, and then like I feel a little throat thing, but like I just can't ever get to where I'm like letting them all go. But
I don't cry during a lot, but whenever it's something with like, if it's something with like kids and they're not like they're not being loved enough or whatever, like Stand By Me where the kid what the fuck is it, where his brother dies and his dad clearly like loved the brother who died more than the alive son, and so like that created the insecurity with the kid. And then there's like that scene there's this scene at the end where he's like, "Am I good enough, Dad? Am I good enough, Dad?" I remember like I didn't cry, but that one I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. You know which one got me? Did you ever see the Connor the Crusher thing that WWE made?
Yeah.
Or I guess it was technically WWE made the video. That one, I watched that one night after me and the wife were kind of like just chilling, having a few drinks, and that one got me. Yeah, I almost saw Corey's butt right there. Definitely a well-produced Make-A-Wish segment. All right, this is my time. Go check out Panties in the Mouth. It's my podcast with Nathan Marshall. He's a very funny gentleman.
That wasn't the rule. The rule
What?
wasn't just to put stuff over. You had to start singing 90s pop song.
And then doo wop, da bop, doo wop, shibby bop. Check me out on twitch.tv/Andy Malafarina. That's how the song went. We all know that's how the song went, Corey.
So we were talking about Ben Stiller, and we were talking about sequels and like movies that I was crazy good at quoting. One of them being Zoolander. I had Zoolander like down. That was what actually inspired me to want my name had to have the initial CK because I wanted to do my gimmick when I first started that I was an idiot male model.
Oh, really?
So I was going to be Corey Castle, the male model, but stupid, like your Googlies and such.
Yeah.
And
that's always like almost like in a Tyler Breeze way almost.
Yeah, but this is 2001 when I wanted to do it. So this was 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, so way before it.
yeah, exactly. So I wanted that to be my gimmick when I first started. That's why I picked the CK, and I had gotten like professional headshots done and shit. Like I was gonna have that be what I like had at the gimmick table, but clearly I wasn't good enough. Where you know what I mean? I was still brand new, and I didn't have the platform really to get it over. I mean, I was like still so new, and I was just like trying to get like my like 5 minutes that I had on shows back then to make them count.
Can I ask you a wrestling question?
Yeah.
Why the 8x10 or whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
Why that always just seems like I remember I saw those and I saw it was like, you know, it makes sense like bigger wrestlers, but I didn't realize until going to indie shows like 8x10s are just like the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I find it's just interesting that people still want to get like an actual nice, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm making sense. I was surprised that like the whole 8x10 is popular because I remember there was one dude at who would go to all the work rate shows and like get everyone's 8x10 and shit. And it just seems like a staple of the wrestling community.
Well, I mean, that's a bigger question than why in wrestling. That's not really a wrestling. That's anything. Like horror movies, you go get a horror movie actors 8x10 at a festival, or like somebody who's like
that's
in
true.
any.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
So I mean, in wrestling, I think it's also like wrestling fans, and I'm speaking for myself, including myself in this. Like we wanted to have a thing to like where we can go one day I'll have a wrestling room all set up and I'll hang up all my 8x10s and I'll put them on display. Like I had that going on for me when I was a kid. I used to get 8x10 signed. Like I probably still have ones that were like signed by Val Venus and D'Lo Brown and Honky Tonk Man and King Kong Bundy and stuff, like going from shows in Philly when I was a kid.
That's pretty sick too to have them, especially like when they're doing Philly shows and shit. For me, I think I'm more of the guy who like wants to get a picture with them. You know what I mean? I never I'm always curious about like, you know, cuz like I notice with wrestling fans, like they're really about their like signature collecting. I've never been a signature guy, but that always intrigued me.
That's faded. All that's faded. Like people used to ask for signatures all the time back in the day, but no one's asked for a signature from me. I mean, probably because I'm not a big deal, but like no one's asked for a signature from me. Like I could say probably like 2012. I haven't signed anything since then. Like people don't ask me. People stop like around like the time when phones got better, where people could just take a selfie with you if they want to.
Yeah. No,
like,
but I think wrestling fans too have like a big like collectible thing of their like that goes into their fandom They really like the whole collectible aspect. So I think that's why, getting all the 8x10s, getting signatures and stuff, making sure, checking off the list of all like the different, I got this wrestling thing, I got that wrestling thing. Because I know also too, like the collecting the toys, which I'm not anti collecting. I think I'm just like, I don't have a room. Like I think if I had an extra room in my apartment, I'd probably be like, should put some toys in there. Probably
we're gonna just tack some toys while they're still in the box up on the wall.
I have a couple. I know I saw a Chris Jericho Funko Pop. It's hilarious because I shit for the longest time. I would shit on Funko Pops. I'd be like, why? It's just did it. And then I saw a Chris Jericho one. And I'm like, I really need that right now. So I got that.
I'd get a Chris Jericho Funko Pop. I mean, I have 3 of them right now, and that's it.
Yeah,
and
I got the You Just Made the List Funko Pop. That was a big reason why I got it. So he's got the list, he's got the scarf, it's sick. And when I finally got one that I really liked, I realized the point of having a Funko Pop is that you walk by it and you go, yeah. And then so every day I could be like, you just made the list, and then go to work.
some other fan of this particular niche thing that I'm a fan of didn't get this one because I got it before they did.
Yeah, I love too how like deep Funko Pops have gotten, because like before it was all like,
yeah.
well, before it was all the big shit, and then
Mm-hmm.
like my buddy Nate, that like I said before, I do the podcast with, he has a Funko Pop of Samuel Jackson from the Hateful Eight, like just a very specific.
It's
Like,
very.
he was the main character of the movie, but that's not like, that like culturally, that Quentin Tarantino movie didn't catch on like, let's say, Kill Bill or whatever. It's just very specific, but like that rules that he can get Samuel Jackson's character from the Hateful Eight.
Yeah, it's like my friend Scott today was telling me about like Marvel zombie Funko Pops and stuff, and I was like, I mean, he was like explaining what book it's from and why it's important to, like, for your fandom, and any fandom that's so specific that you can find a thing that's exactly what you want, or like from the movie that you like.
Yeah, dude, that's why comic book fans gotta chill, man, because like all their stuff is getting turned into everything now. I always laugh because I feel like comic book fans, I feel like there's a crossroad, because you notice it with like, if you go on wrestling Twitter for 5 seconds, there's just a whole bunch of fans where their whole thing is like, all right, I just watched Raw and SmackDown, now it's time for me to go on Twitter and very detailed, in a detailed way, dissect it and stuff. And I think comic book fans do a very similar thing.
Right. Yeah.
They do it, like that over analysis of it. Like they almost like I used to do a wrestling podcast, and I got burnt out on it just because it also just wasn't popping off. So I was like, let's stop. Well, it's like I was doing like a review show of like Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and I was like, that's a lot of wrestling to have to watch every week for no one to listen to, this podcast. So I was like, all right, let me switch it up.
Did you host it alone?
I did it a little bit with my wife, and then she wasn't loving doing it. So my wife and I've done podcasts and stuff with my wife before. She's very good at it, but she wasn't loving doing the wrestling shit. So I just started doing it by myself, doing like wrestling news and this and that. And it just, just wasn't catching on. So I was like, all right, I'll come back to it later. Hopefully when I, grow more of a fan base or whatever, and if they want to hear me talk about wrestling. Because that's kind of like, I felt like the universe was just being like, we're good, Andy. We don't need to hear your opinion.
Well,
so I was like, all right, I'll try again next time.
Well, I've been a part of a wrestling podcast for like 5+ years now, and it's easy to not have to have other people who did watch it and have an opinion on it on the show with you. So if you didn't watch it, you can only hear about it and go, "Oh, I guess I should have watched it. Maybe I will still watch it." Like that, it kind of sells it a little bit more to you. So my suggestion, if you wanted to start doing it again, would be to find somebody else who's going to pick up your slack, or somebody whose slack you pick up for. And it's like maybe have it be like a friend who you watch stuff and they watch stuff, and you guys got to like try to convince each other to watch the stuff you watch too.
Do you watch wrestling right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you watch all of it?
I don't. I want to say yes. I do want to say yes, but I'm not committed enough to actually watch as much as there is. So
that's the thing though. It's like so fucked. That was part of it too, where it's like especially when AEW got popping, and you're like, if I want to be a wrestling fan that's like truly like in the know, like I know the ins and outs, because it's like if I was doing the wrestling podcast, like I want to be knowledgeable of everything that's happening. Right. So I have to watch 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of NXT, 2 hours of AEW, 2 hours of SmackDown, and then all 9, 10, 20 hours of whatever pay-per-view happened. I will say
NWA Dark, and then there's AEW Dark, and then there's NWA Power. Like there's just layers on, and then there's MLW, then there's Ring of Honor, then there's New Japan, and all of it, it just goes like, all right, here's what the highlights are. Sell me on those.
Yeah, and then also too, if you ever try to like debate stuff, they're like, well, you're not actually, you only watch the highlights. You gotta like really get into the show. You gotta really, and you gotta know all these indie wrestlers.
You gotta twirl that wrestling around in a little glass and take a tiny little sip of it.
Because AEW is gonna bring on, and I'm not shitting on AEW, they do a lot of great shit, but AEW is gonna bring on this indie guy, and you better know what he did in fucking Ring of Honor 4 years ago. Or else you're not going to understand why these two guys' feud matters. It's like, that's my one, as a non, like, that was my one thing about AEW. They had a lot of great shit on AEW, but as a guy who mainly watched WWE, I wasn't super familiar with all the like indie dudes they were bringing up. I didn't feel like they were always great at like catching you up. So I always just was like, that's why, they would be, I always said AEW had great, like they had all the perfect moments that would go viral on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Like they just always had these like great spots that went super viral because they were sick. And so like that would always, like the matches being good would keep me in it. But I'd be like, these two dudes doing dope shit. I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm not sure who they are.
Right. Well, they have all the means to catch you up with who they are. They have all the means to show you the backstories or to tell you the backstories or give the opportunity, especially in the Corona pandemic times. They could have done a whole episode based around getting to know Hangman Page, like what his history was, where he was trained by, who, like where he lives, where he learned things. They have a whole episode to commit to Kenny Omega and why you should care about him and what he did in the make like documentaries like the network, like WWE Network does, where like they follow, like he was, show a picture and say, here's him when he was developmental in WWE. Here's him when he was the champion in Jersey All Pro. Here's like, and then just like make it make sense for like when I'm watching him on the thing, the commentators can be like, check out the extensive character study of Kenny Omega now available on this, and maybe show a clip of where you can go watch it or something.
Yeah.
With the billions that they've got, of course they could probably do that.
Yeah, and also too, a big thing for me is like WWE is so good at, like I always joke with my wife because when I would be watching the TV shows and then we'd watch the pay-per-views together, because my wife's actually the person who got me into wrestling, because I watched it very sporadically as a kid, and then when me and my wife started dating, like me and her would, like when we first started dating, we'll go to a bar or something and grab drinks as as like a date night or whatever. But then eventually the bar, because it's like we started to get into like a way more committed relationship. So then the bar just gets a lot less enticing. So we would like stay home, grab some drinks, watch a movie and whatever. movies got, after a certain point, I think my wife started listening to like Something to Wrestle With or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, they just talked about this Stone Cold match. Do you want to watch it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Not not even being an avid wrestler watcher, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll watch Stone Cold do anything. He's the man."
Mm-hmm.
And then we started watching it, and this like light bulb went off in my head. I was like, "Oh, this is the entertainment I didn't know I needed." Like I didn't know it was similar to like finding out I love doing commentary actually.
Right,
Now that
right.
I'm thinking about it, but yeah, I meant like we started watching. We would watch a little bit of wrestling every weekend, and then we ended up watching like whole pay-per-views, and then I ended up like checking out. I was like, "Hey, why don't we watch the pay-per-view that's happening now?" The fucking we got the network, and I just fucking it's hilarious because everyone's got their story about like, oh yeah, I watched wrestling all the time as a kid, and I'm like, yeah, I waited till 25. And I just, but no, is it because I think ironically wrestling, because like the joke is, and it's kind of like not really the joke anymore, because I mean I still hear it occasionally where people go like, it's not real, and you're like, dog, no one thinks it's real, right?
Right,
Like there's some
right.
dumb wrestling
It's
fans,
just a
but
way
like,
to it's a way to just justify throwing it away and not paying attention to it.
yeah,
It's a way to justify going, I grew out of that. Shouldn't you grow out of that by now? It's to
that's
minimalize what I like so you can maximize to yourself what you like.
really what it's not. They're not actually informing you. They're just going like, I'm better than that, right? And then also too, it's also funny to be like, all right, they like almost kill themselves every night. So maybe not. Let's say fake. Let's say staged.
It hurts.
Fucking hurt. I did one flat back, and I immediately, my respect for all wrestlers went up 1,000%. I was like, oh, it was the weirdest pain, dude. Kay was showing me it before that show in at the school.
Mhm.
It's a weird feeling. I was
Right.
like, I don't get how you guys do it that much. That's weird, dude. And then he was being a dickhead. He tried to get me to do the skin the cat shit, and I'm like, I can't. And then he's like, no, try it. And then he had
That's
like three or four of his students push me up over the rope. I'm like, yeah, look at me. I know I can't do that, dickhead.
That's funny.
But
Those rings, those ropes are like particularly hard to skin the cat in as compared to like the cable rope rings. Like Keikoa's got real ropes on his
yeah,
ring, the work rate ring. So it might sag down a little bit lower and it might be a little more difficult. I don't know if I've tried it. Like I will every once in a while before shows, just like that, like you said, just go walk up to the ring and just start skinning the cat just for the heck of it. But I've never do it on shows, so I didn't do it that day, and I didn't do it in that ring. And like wrestling at shows that have ropes instead of cables is like pretty rare. I mean,
really.
it's not something you see as much. I mean, I think the Monster Factory has ropes instead of cables, and Keikoa has ropes instead of cables, and the Samoans have ropes instead of cables, and everywhere else you go is cables.
Interesting. So wait, dumb question. What cables? What does that mean?
Like
Why am I
there's
not able to picture cables?
so
Because all
so
I can think of is like cable to plug in your TV. I can't picture what a
it's
cable looks like.
like steel cables, like the stuff that like holds buildings together.
Oh, okay, okay.
So they put those they put them like they put a layer of foam around it and then
Yeah, yeah,
tape it
yeah.
and then tape it, and that's what the ring ropes are. But if
Okay.
you but like some places have ropes instead of cables. Like WWE has ropes instead
Oh,
of
I
the
see.
cables.
I
But
see what you're saying about
like
cables. Yeah.
AEW probably has cables instead of ropes. Um, WCW had cables. TNA, I'm sure, has cables. Ring of Honor has cables. It's so
Interesting.
I know CCW had cables. I got trained with cables. The ring I got trained in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
So
remember. I remember Kay was saying like that was probably one of his big. I think that was like his big selling point when he was like
mhm,
renting out the shit. He was
right,
like, "It's just like WWE," and then
yeah,
people
it's a
would see
20 by
that.
20. Yeah,
Yeah, people would see that and be like, "Oh, hell yeah!"
That messed me up. Like I even like when I went and I did like a seminar at his school and like started like walking through stuff with the students and I was like, you have to compensate because the ring that Kikoa uses for his shows isn't like this. The ring's bigger and you got to compensate for when you do a
Yeah,
whip off. You got to like go. You got to take like 4 shuffle steps into the center to make sure that it looks like you're shooting them out, not just going and like they're running 20 feet.
because
Uh,
isn't a lot of like wrestling like muscle memory?
kind of, yeah, it's kind of like it becomes second nature. A lot of things become very much second nature. So
So
like
if you're used to a small ring and now you got what 4 extra feet,
right,
you gotta do a lot of readjusting.
a little bit, yeah. But when I did that show, when I wrestled Tommy, that
Yeah.
the show that you cut it together, I beat myself up for the fact that I didn't. I'm telling the students compensate at Keikoa's shows because the ring's bigger, and I didn't compensate in that match, and I beat myself up for it to this day. And I'll be ashamed of
Yeah.
that entire performance and not want anyone to see it. The same thing with like if like a stupid pet peeve of mine. It's beats me up only for the work that I'm doing. So if I'm putting somebody up like on the corner, like I'm going to go give them a superplex, if I put them up on the ropes and don't automatically drape their legs on both sides of the corner, like it annoys me. Like I wouldn't share one of those matches. I wouldn't want anyone to see it. It would just be that minute. And if you see stuff like that happen on AEW or WWE, you just kind of let it go pretty quickly. But me, if I see something like that, I'm like,
Yeah.
making me crazy. It's like, what's the word? Agita.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it gives me a little bit of
My
vibe.
wife I learned that from my wife. I didn't. I remember she was saying that one time. I'm like, "Are you just making words up?" And she's like, "No, it's a word, stupid." Yo, that's so funny you say that. Like, I love learning those little details. Like you were saying about if someone doesn't move the feet. I know, and well, you probably see this too because you also do stand up comedy. But the one I always noticed or the one I should say that I just thought of as you were talking was when a comic goes up, takes the mic out of the stand, and then just leaves the mic right there. You're
Right.
just like, you haven't been doing it for a while. You haven't been doing
You
it for only a little
take the
bit.
mic and put it behind you.
Yeah, and it's like,
Right. The mic stand.
the joke, there's still the same jokes, but there's something about the mic just not like get it out of your way.
Right.
It's like it's this weird subtle thing that like the audience will just be like, why is it in front of him? Why is it still there?
I like to feel like I'm seasoned in comedy sometimes when I'm like, all right, I'm about to hit the final punchline. Let me put the mic back in the stand and use both hands to like to to capitalize
Oh, that's
this
such
final
a
punch.
yeah. That's such a like I'm wrapping my setup
Right.
fucking I also too I do this one where like especially if when I'd be doing like open mics or whatever, if the guy or gal hosting hits me with the light and I know I'm gonna go like a smidge long, I always go, but I'll leave you guys with this to just be like, don't worry, I'm wrapping it up. Please don't be mad at me, host.
Dude, I think that's universal. Like if you're at an open mic and someone says, I'll leave you with this, you know they just got the light. Like if
Yeah.
they say anything with, oh, one last thing, this, you know that they just got the light. That's maybe that's just me being a comedy fan and being to so many shows and like
Yeah, no,
being to so many mics.
I think you're right about that. I also I just like to I try to be like considerate, especially like I said before. If I know I'm gonna go a little long because like there be the occasional time, and if I know I'm like at a place where I can sort of bend the rules a little bit, and I need to like work out a bit a little bit more, I'll do that. I'll just be
Dude,
like,
how
don't worry.
how desperate are we as people to drive 45 minutes for 3 minutes at an open mic, an unpaid, like we're out of pocket. We're out of pocket to to fulfill some neediness. so
I mean,
some
it was. I will say when I first started, it was a lot easier just because it was all like brand new and it was just so fucking exciting. Like the chance to go up and make a room full of people fucking laugh. Because like for me, doing stand-up comedy definitely it was for a bunch of reasons, but part of it was definitely coming from like a need to be liked and a need to be accepted. So to just be like, I had this thought and then a whole room of people may respond positively to that thought. It's a fucking rush. So definitely in the beginning, it was like, all right, I got to drive 45 minutes, but when I get there, my favorite thing may happen, which is I say something and a whole crowd immediately gets like the most happy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so that would
it's so
drive me.
satisfying. I
And
think,
then late, sorry, not to cut you off, but then later into like doing it more, it was a little bit of that. And then it was also like, oh, I'm going to go get to see my friends.
mhm,
Cause like
yeah,
all of my friends, I still talk to some people from high school and college, but my majority of friends are comics right now. So a lot of it too, bro, there's some nights legit. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this show. Oh, but fucking this guy's on it, that guy's on it. Oh, that's gonna be fun as shit tonight. Grab a couple beers with those dudes. So there's some shows where I'm going to fucking just hang out with people.
dude, I'm stoked when like Dorian and Lemaire and Jay are at show. Like that's awesome. I get stoked when that happens, or like at Mike's or whatever,
Yeah.
or it'll be like sometimes it's like it's satisfying on that level, but it's also satisfying on the level of like, all right, how stoked am I going to be when this new joke gets a pop? Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on this new thing. If I'm working on this new thing and I wrote it like the way I want it to be, and I deliver it the way I want to deliver it, and it gets a good reaction, I'll be really excited. And
Yeah.
also, like I like to record my sets and listen back to them on the way home and stuff like that. I mean, I never did that with like Comedy Fight Club because I would never want to hear back that stuff. I just don't care.
Oh,
It's
dude, comedy Fight Club. Cause there's fuck, what was it? Yeah, there was a moment because I got both the well, no, I did 3 shows. Actually, no, I did a Zoom one that if you guys want to see me at my worst, go to it might still be on Gas Digital. Go watch the Zoom battle I did with Brian St. John. That was bad. That was the first time I had to be funny publicly since fucking COVID. That was brutal. Bombing on Zoom. And it's
yeah,
just like you just have all because who was it? Like, there's Keith Carey, I believe is his name, which he's a funny dude. Karen Fian, she's really funny, and then I forget who else judged it. But like, so just seeing them, I respect them, and there's like a bunch of other comics, and it's in that like grid format, and you're just like 2 inches away from your screen, and you can just see all their detailed faces, not thinking your joke was funny. That was brutal.
right,
That was
right.
brutal. And then yeah.
Especially if you're going against a killer. Especially if you're going against a killer. Like when I told you the thing with Steven, he murdered me and it was on Zoom. And like people I should know and respect as comedy people, like going, like
Yeah. Well,
so.
thankfully for mine, St. John was on there and he's a super funny comic, but he bombed his ass off as well. That
Okay.
didn't help either. That didn't help either because like there's a thing in those battles, like once a tone is set, it's hard to like get out of that. And St. John did his joke. He said he did his first joke, super wordy, didn't fucking hit. And then now it's like, all right, well, he clearly bombed. Now it's time for Andy to be funny. Nope, equally bad of a bomb, and then that just set the tone.
Yeah, you can't recover. It's
There
it's
was
tough. It's tough to bring the wheels back or to bring the nose back up after that.
It's so hard too, because like the second like both of your jokes bomb their fucking dick off, if you have any joke after that's not a killer, it basically just is gonna bomb. Because I had 2 jokes I thought I like fucked up the delivery of one, but one joke I thought was I said it well and I thought it was good, but it wasn't great. So it just ended up bombing.
Mhm.
But wait, what was I gonna say? Because we were talking about Comedy Fight Club. I got sidetracked with my epic bomb. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So I did the roast with a mama, and I go, what was the one joke? I said a mama. I was like, oh, I'm sorry if these jokes aren't great. I didn't have a lot of time to write them because up until 3 days ago, her name's Mama Sardar, Mama Sardar, and I go up until 3 days ago, I thought I was roasting a halal cart, and that one got like a huge pop, and then there was another one. Oh yeah, I go, it's not my fault. Your name sounds like a general from a Star Wars movie, and there was just something about that just got like a big pop, and like that feeling where like because they popped hard for that one. And that just felt so goddamn good. And then for Sean, I said Sean Gardini. His last name Gardini is Italian for small hands, and it was just something about that hit the room the right way. And also too, if you watch back the video as I hit the punchline, they got a close up on all the judges, and so like just the judges immediately are like, "Fuck!" when that one hit, and it's just right place, right time with the joke and everything. And it just and then Sean got me back good. He goes, give it up for allergic reaction Bronson, which I've heard a million Action Bronson jokes. So to have like an original Action Bronson joke at me was like, fucking chef's kiss, dude. Gardini's a killer. Go check him out. He fucking crushes that Comedy Fight Club shit. But yeah, man, that pop that you get when you say some shit, because there's like a beautiful thing about comedy where like we all have these different, like my favorite type of jokes are that thing that, when you touch on something that people don't really talk about, not even necessarily because it's like a touchy issue or anything. It just might be something like we don't all actively talk about because it's just like whatever. It's something maybe we all subconsciously understand, and then we just go on with our days. And then you tell a joke and you just tap on that, and like everyone, the light bulb in everyone's head goes off, and they're like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
And I'm trying.
It's tough to be somewhere where, and this is probably why I brought up why the roast that went on before you. I was like, oh, you were nervous, because that's how I get. Like if I'm somewhere at a mic or at a show and like someone's on stage and they're really funny, I'm like, oh man, I gotta really bring my shit because I want to keep this crowd alive. I gotta make sure I hit that first joke hard.
Yeah, I'm like mixed. Like I think there's some comics that if the person before them bombs, they're like, all right, I'll bring them back. But I don't necessarily do that. But also, if someone like crushes in front of me, I occasionally will have that. Like I remember, it hasn't happened recently, but I remember like back in the day, if someone would crush in front of me, it would get, because I'm already prone to being in my head, and it would like fucking, yeah, it would, because you'd be like, well, I'm always like, I can have the tendency of like, you walk in a fucking room and you're like, they're not gonna like me. You just look at the crowd and you see their faces, and like you just assume, you're like, they all look like people who wouldn't like me. And then the guy in front of you crushes, so you're like, well, they liked him, and the whole time they're gonna be thinking, well, I wish that guy was still here.
Right.
But that's just like silly insecurities.
Oh, I'm such a comedy nerd. Like I go back to watching like Funny People. You ever see that movie Funny People when like Jonah Hill's like, oh, you shouldn't have lost that weight. Nobody wants to see an in shape comedian. No one wants this. Like, oh, good.
It's kind of true.
In shape people aren't funny, and I was like, oh man, I'm in shape, and I got this douchey hat on and a man bun. They're gonna hate me, but like I have to go back to like the comedy is what's important. The message is what's important. The delivery is the important part. So it's like I gotta appear as if I'm legitimately a comedian, so that you're not going to just go, well, this guy's. I've already judged him based off of just the way he looks.
Yeah, it's weird with with how you look, because it like it doesn't. It's not like a make or break thing. Because like if the jokes are funny, the jokes are funny. But it can be like a thing. Like if I just went up, like I don't know, like think about, like if I just like went up with, this is like an extreme example, but if I like just went up with a crop top, like and didn't address, like it would be a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides the fact that like my gut would be popped, but like still, I don't know. Like
It's a gimmick.
yeah. So there's like something about. I know I heard Rogan say because he would get. I don't know. Like there is some truth to that. Like people don't want to laugh at like in shape people. So Rogan, I heard, would go up a lot with like baggy long sleeve shirts on.
Right.
You know what I mean? To kind of like just keep
To hide his
people's mind.
tattoos and hide the fact that he's like jacked as hell.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, I'd always try to go up with like, just nothing crazy. Like, I wouldn't. I'd leave the like graphic tees at home. Just wear like a fucking hoodie or a flannel or
Yeah,
something.
nothing that's funnier than your material.
Yeah,
I just did this. I was talking on the episode I did. Do you know Dalton Pruitt?
Yeah. I saw that I saw that clip of him from Real Ass Podcast. It was so goddamn funny. Where he was going in on their producer.
Mike Arrington.
What? Nah, I think his name Dylan. I think.
Okay. But
he just got the kid in his feelings, and it just ended up being real funny. It was that shit where like you made fun of a kid, and then the kid gets really like worked up. So they're like, well, obviously now we're gonna make fun of you more, and it just Dalton just worked the situation perfectly. It was so goddamn funny.
My trainer, my wrestling trainer, would be like, if I'm not making fun of you, I probably don't really like you. If I'm not giving you some shit, like you're probably not somebody who I think can take the shit. So if you don't take it, then I don't want to give you shit anymore. So I don't want to make you feel bad. I just want to laugh with you.
Yeah,
so I learned that lesson through wrestling training.
Yeah, I learned that through just having like dude friends. You know what I mean? Like I always get like, don't get me wrong, I'm a born spaz. So like I will have moments where I'm also too like I'm a paranoid psycho. So like I'll have those moments where like something in my head, I'll just be like, what the fuck did you mean by that? And then like the dumb Guido in me pops out. And then I just have like but that's also too like the the fucking part of me who's like a sad boy. I should be like, he'd probably say that because he actually doesn't like me. But I'll have that occasionally. But like, no, you have that one time where your fucking head goes stupid. But then like most of the time you're like, yeah, but I've had guy friends my whole life. This is how we talk to each other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I wanted to bring up the point, like when I was talking about the nerves and stuff in comedy. It's not as the same in nerves, but the way I learned this little lesson, and you might think this is neat because you're a fan or a Mark. I learned this through like going to shows. I would always, and I learned this lesson on my own, and I pass it on to whoever I'm in a match with who might not be as experienced as me. I'll say, which is most people, no one does this for as long as I've done. People give up. All my friends are gone. They don't do this anymore. I'm the only one in my friends group who's still doing it.
Hell yeah.
Like every tag team partner I've ever had retired. Every one of them. But anyway, when I'm in there in a match with like people who aren't as experienced as me, I'll always be like, look at the match that's on before you and look at the match that's on after you and think about what kind of match that's going to be and be something different. Yeah. Think about what that match is going to be and be something different. And if, I hate saying this because it feels like a humble brag or something. But if I'm in like the main event or something, I'll want to make sure the matches leading up to me are not going to be the same kind of match. Or I'll look at the card and I'll be like, well, they must have got a lot of chain in this one. They must have got a lot of technical stuff in this one. Yeah. They must have got a lot of high spots. They must have got a lot of hardcore. I got to find a happy medium in that and find a way to structure my match in which I'm not going to be too much like the other matches they've seen. And watch also, like, see also who's on that roster and what moves they do. Hopefully they don't do any of the same moves as me. Right outside your door. So
What?
somebody, I just want to make sure. I did a show like in Ohio or something, and it was like for the guy who ran the show was a worker, and I went out and I did two moves, and he was like, I'm in the main event, and the two of the moves you did are my moves. Like that's my finish.
Oh shit.
You just burned my finish out. I'm like, yeah, but like you're you, and they know you. Like I was like, hopefully it's not that big of a deal. But
But he was mad.
I was young in the business at the time.
Yeah, no, I feel that. No, I know from like a fan standpoint. Yeah, it's if like by like the third or fourth match, if you've seen the same finisher, you're like, do something. But no, so that's like a smart. That's
Mhm.
definitely a smart way to go about it. You don't
Mhm.
want to see the same thing every match on
Right.
the card.
Right. My also impression that I try to make sure I put onto whoever I'm in a match with or whoever's on a show with me is like I apply this to comedy too. I go, the people who are seeing this, a good amount of them, a good chunk of them already don't like wrestling, and maybe this is their first time. They came into it going like, I'm not gonna like any of this. And it's like you have a performance that is going to change whatever their perception of wrestling is. Hopefully. So if
Mm.
I go, we'll make sure we hit all these things that I know are going to look good, and it's going to be emotional peaks and valleys, the crescendos, and it's like the people who go, oh, I knew all that stuff was kind of bullshit, but the guy who had Castle on the back of his tights, that was really good. Like, so to be the thing that makes the person who's never been there before have something to remember you by.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
not just by going out there and going through the motions, it's like I made you feel something, and I hope that you remember that feeling. And I said the same thing I said with that like little kid that I picked up and hit Tommy in the face with. It's like that kid's
That's
gonna have
such a
that
great
story.
sentence. That kid that I hit Tommy with. You're like, what? Oh, it was a show. It was a wrestling show. Don't worry.
So, but that kid's gonna have that story for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty.
and
That's pretty rad.
and what if one day that kid goes, "What was the name of that wrestler?" And then he like Googles me and finds this show. Like that's neat. That's so cool
Yeah.
to think about. To think about like when I was like 3 or something. I probably told the story on here before, but when I was like 3 or something, my mom took us to Disneyland and to SeaWorld. And I think there was like a stunt show at SeaWorld where there was a
Mm-hmm.
cowboy. And the cowboy was on the roof of some house and he got shot and he fell off the house. It was like part of the stunt show. And I was like, that cowboy was my favorite cowboy on the show, and now he's dead. And I was like crying. I was 3. I was mad. I was upset. And my mom brought me backstage and like was like, look, he's not dead. He's fine. He's right here. And I like took a picture with the cowboy, and I was like, and I was like, I remember that for the rest of my life. I see the picture, and I'm like, I remember how cool I felt here. I think about that, and I go like, how do I apply that? How do I apply that to the memories that I'm creating for these people? Like that little
Hmm.
kid, and the fact that like there was another show somewhere where I just gave a little kid a free T-shirt. Like it was
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That's gonna stick with that kid forever. Like he was just a little kid, but he was just like, hey, his mom came up to me and was like, hey, you were his favorite part of the show. Okay, well, hopefully he can take that favorite part of the show and bring it home with him in some way.
Mm. That's really yeah, that's cool. That's an interesting way to look at it too. Where it's so funny how like God, it's so funny how like certain things make a imprint on kids, like how you watch that show and it was just that guy probably did that show fucking 4 times a day for years or something like that. But
Mm,
like that one show, you took that and you're like, this is how I'm gonna apply this to my wrestling. Cause
mm,
yeah, shit really shit really sticks with kids. I'm just remembering how I had to stop. Like I realized I had to stop teasing my nephew because he didn't get like the nuances of like me fucking with him.
you
Because
uneducated little.
he's 9, so he doesn't fully comprehend that I'm just kidding. So the one I was making fun of showing me the rappers that he listens to, and I was like, just teasing anything he showed me, and I'm like, you listen to that, like just being a dickhead. And then the next time I saw him, he like immediately pulled out his Spotify and he's like, look who I've been listening to, Uncle Andy. And I've been listening to this guy. He's really cool, right? I've been listening to that guy. And I'm like, oh shit. This kid for like a month was like making sure he listened. Andy. He was like, I'm going to listen to some good ass rap so Andy knows I'm cool. And I'm like, fuck. So I was like, I gotta make sure I'm not a dickhead around this kid anymore.
I talk about this kid a lot on the podcast. So before I get into telling this story, I want to say
talk about my nephew a lot. What the fuck?
Shout out to Lucas, Twitch to Sangro. Give him a follow on Instagram or Twitter, Mr. Fanspastic. But he used to be a roommate of mine, and I always talk to him about like the impressions and stuff. I mean, he's young 20s or something, and I was hoping that I was going to be some sort of big brother figure to this guy or some sort of like male role model to him. But then he brought home like bod spray. Like, remember the check out my bod? And I just picked on him like crazy for it. And I was like,
I'm sorry. Was that the one in the?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the one that looked like motor oil?
Yeah, it looked like something you clean your tires with. Like you spray on your tire, and he's
that was like a running joke for me and my friends in high school because it was just so crazy looking. I was like, what are they gonna come out? They're like, bod fragrance spray. Here's our new smell. Fat cock, like huge hard dick, just like you, dude. Like, dude, it was so ridiculous. It literally looked like a bottle of like motor oil. It was crazy.
So I was like, I think I made some remarks or something, and I was like, you know what? I hope this like moment doesn't stick with him because I know he's an overthinker like me, and I know he gets into his head so much. So I'm like, I think I was like apologizing for it a lot. I might have apologized for it to him, but I might not have. So maybe this is the moment in which I'm saying sorry about that, Lucas.
How old was he though?
No, I mean, he was like 20, 21, something like that.
Well, he's not. He can get over it. No, I used to. I'm like a fucking. I was about to say I hate. Sorry, I was about to do my pet peeve. I hate when people say like, "Oh, I'm a notorious," and you're like, "No one knows you or knows you for that thing."
Infamously, I love ice cream.
It's like, it's my mother's infamous fucking hot sauce. You're like, no one eats it outside of the family. It's not infamous. Shut up. But no, I actually, I will say, because like 2020, we weren't really like allowed to do much. So I spent a lot of it trying to uncrazy myself. I got decent progress, but one of the big things I was working on, bro, I used to be so good at just like holding on to shit. Just like remembering a thing, remembering a fight I got in with a buddy from 4 years ago and being like, you were wrong because of this, this, and that. And then it's like, well, that's the next 2 hours of my day. Right. And it's just like, it's completely fucking useless. It's a useless behavior to just,
because first off, time wasting. Yeah, you can't get that time back.
And if you don't have a time machine, it's what are you even going to do about it?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just ruminating on that shit from the past. It's like a mixture of both because it's like your past does affect your present. Like I've been I've been reading a lot of books on the shit, and it's like people don't realize how much their childhood affects the psycho that they are as an adult.
Can you tell me what the names of those books are so that the people listening can hear?
It's just don't ever say this in front of your friends because they will make fun of you. Because dude, self-help. This is a theme on the podcast. Is me saying the names of the cringy names of the self-help books I get. They're fucking great. But like the one I'm almost done with is called "Love Me, Don't Leave Me." It's just like the names are so cringy, but no, they're super useful, man. Like, or the other one, like "Unfuck Your Brain," which is just like, all right, calm down. But that one's real useful because it's very it's like the woman, the author of it, she comes from a like scientific and analytical of like, this is what your brain, like she has a whole chapter on like how your cerebellum works and shit in reference to like anxiety and negative thoughts and stuff. I will say a lot of the books are targeted towards women. So I feel they'll always have parts where like, with you and your partner, he may not think this. I'm just like, so they're targeted towards women a lot of times, trying to get a man. So that part's funny to me. But no, it's wait, what was my original point? Oh yeah, the stuff from the past is just like not, it's useless to just like hold on to and like ruminate about that. Oh, I was saying about the childhood. Like, yeah, your childhood affects your does a lot to affect the way you are in the present, but to like it's good to understand that, to like explain it, it's good to learn about that stuff to sort of understand why you are the way you are. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you may be like bad at expressing your feelings because you and your family never did that a lot, you know, and then you can understand and you'll be like, oh, that's why I do that. It's, you know, and then you kind of get a grasp on that. You're like, oh, okay, it's just an insecurity I got from childhood, and it makes like being more intimate with people easier and stuff like that. But
It's like all your behaviors are caused from this trauma, and a lot of those things, behaviors, are learned behaviors, and some of them
yeah,
that are negative can be unlearned, and you have to know where they came from, but not get more angry about them existing and having that moment, and go like, that made me who I am. I like me. I really like me.
yeah,
I'm not taking back that moment. I I mean, I forgive you for screwing me over. You didn't even have to ask me for it, because I know that helped me become who I am. I freaking like me. I love me.
mm-hmm.
So like, all right, cool. That holding the weight of you screwing me over, or you teaching me the wrong stuff, or you making me have these issues, holding the weight of that, I don't want anymore. So put
Yeah,
that
and
weight
it's,
down. Put that weight down and go forward.
you can't do anything with it. You can't,
Hmm?
you know, that weight that you hold on to, it's just gonna make you mad and resentful. It's not like you can take that. Like, how much of a psycho are you gonna sound like going up to your buddy and you're like, you know what, we really need to talk about this 20-minute argument we had 3 years ago, and you're like, what? That's crazy. You know what I mean? That's,
Right.
or that, and that's more of a applicable to me. I'm sure other people may be able to
Well,
relate
I
to
mean,
that.
I
But like,
mean,
just generally speaking, holding on to that stuff is just not. There's nothing useful to do with it.
in a broader sense, it's like you the second the words left the person's mouth, the second that happened, they stop thinking about
Yeah.
it. But it hits you, you replay it a billion times. They don't think about it as much as you think about it. So like, it's hurting you way more than it's hurting them. So just
Oh yeah, dude. I
forgive.
my buddy a couple weeks ago like sent me a message like shitting on me, and like I turned it into a whole big, like I was raging, just being like why the fuck would he say that to me? And then I called him later that day, and I was like, yo, I was like, dude, do you have a problem, dude? And he's like, what? And I was like, that message you sent me. And he's like, what? And, like, dude, he didn't even remember. It happened like fucking 30 minutes before that. Couldn't remember the thing I was fucking talking about. That's how little it like mattered to him.
Right.
And it's like,
Well,
yeah.
can I ask, what was the things that he was saying about you?
He was just like busted. It was what the fuck? I was posting something on my Instagram story um about, what the hell? I was making a joke. What did I say? I was making a joke. I can't remember what it was. But I was basically making a joke, and he was just like shitting on me, being like, yo, no one gives a shit, blah blah blah, this and that. But like, just literally doing the dude thing of like da 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 da. But it was just one of those that like caught me the wrong way. And like, that's the problem too. Like,
And
if
you
you're
you were
wrong,
letting it marinate.
Well, like think about it. Like say like you and me, Corey, had like an argument and like a couple weeks ago, and I just held on to that and started ruminating. So like ruminating on it, and like my like like my fucking cruising speed is thinking about that and being like, yo, fuck Corey for that. Fuck that dude. And then like if you and me start talking and you try to like make a joke at me, my brain's at, yo, fuck Corey, and then you say that and I go, yo, what the fuck did you mean by that? So you're already starting hostile.
Right.
And so it's like if you put your head in that headspace and
Yeah, you're idling at 75 miles an hour.
Yeah, and that's a thing I've been working on for me is like I'm a guy who I don't know. I think I just need to like fucking start learning how to fight and work out and stuff to just get rid of this extra energy or whatever. But like I can be a dude who like idles at like what the fuck, like
dude,
it's like
I've been having this idea lately. Like I really hope that you can maybe apply this. Like maybe instead of learning to fight, because like fighting doesn't get you anywhere. Like, and it's temporary. You know what I mean? Your body can only do it for so long. Like as an MMA fighter or as a wrestler or whatever, you only have a shelf life that's about this long. Say, like maybe use the weights as therapy. You get angry at the weights and go like, I'm getting these. I'm coming from me. It's like meaningless right now because I haven't been in the weight room in like a week and I feel like shit. But but like
no, I'm sorry. You're just reminding me of because my wife's been working out a shit ton and she's the person who works out fucking 5 days, and when she takes the 6th day off, she's like, oh, I'm being lazy.
Right. So like maybe recommit like the outlet to whatever that is, or have conversations with people who make you feel good. Like maybe that'll like offset some of the idling high. Like really you don't deserve to do that to yourself. No, you deserve better than that.
Well, I've trained myself over the years of like, definitely feeding into like the stand-up comic mentality of like, oh, I have to be a fucking weirdo and I have to be fucked up or whatever. See, like,
right, because if you aren't, then you lose your fun.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be funny if I'm not a complete fucking psychopath.
Right. That can be the journey that got you to something else.
Yeah, but like I've definitely trained myself over the years to really spend a lot of time focusing on negativity. And it's just like one of my big things too. I've done like a real analysis of my life, and I'm like I was saying this on my podcast, like I'm definitely not where I want to be career wise, but generally speaking, I don't have shit to be that mad about. So I'm like, why am I fucking like a powder keg half the time?
Andy, I'm gonna cut all that out. And then I'm gonna have it edit in. I'm gonna edit in you saying that again, but you saying, I say it on my podcast all the time. Then say, plug the podcast and where it's at, and then say all that stuff all over again. Can you do that? I'm really kidding. I'm not cutting that out.
Oh,
but I just
wait, what?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not cutting that out. But I started making people like my friends who have podcasts who I have on the show. When they talk about their podcast, I want them to go, my podcast, and then panties in the mouth. Like put over the available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Like, so, are you really gonna make me repeat?
No, absolutely not. No, but I'm saying like
what I fucking said.
if you bring up your podcast again, you have to shamelessly plug it and where to find it. Like in the parentheses, like inside of verbal parentheses.
Should I also do that if I bring up my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Andy Malafarina? Should I do that for that?
For what? I'm sorry. I didn't catch that part. Can you say that again?
I said if I ever bring up the fact that I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Andy Malafarina, which is also my social media at Andy Malafarina.
No, you can't do that, Andy. No,
Hypothetically?
no. Cut all that out. Cut
Well,
all
I'll
that.
definitely. Okay, well then I'll make sure I don't bring up the name of my podcast, which is Panties in the Mouth, that I do with Nathan Marshall.
It's gonna be cut. Sorry. So you're just
Ah,
wasting your time.
all
You're just
right.
wasting your
Well,
time at this point.
damn man, you run a fucking rough operation over here.
Yeah, I mean, no nonsense. I mean,
No
plenty of nonsense, but like that kind of nonsense, none of it.
I don't know. I was promised some silly goose activity. This feels like some drill sergeant shit, Corey. I gotta be honest. I don't know if there's too many gooses over here. That's all I'm saying.
This goes back to a point I constantly say. It's like I'm gonna not tell you that I'm anything. I'm not gonna tell you I'm a good wrestler. I'm not gonna tell you I'm a funny comedian. I'm not gonna tell you I'm smart. I'm gonna just do the things that I love and give you an opportunity to see me do those things, and you can decide whether you think I'm funny or I'm smart or I'm a good wrestler. So if I tell you that I'm funny and then I'm talking to you for 20 minutes and you're like, oh, this guy's not funny at all, then I'm only not only am I not funny, I'm a liar too.
That's like that shit when someone goes on stage and they got like crazy credits and then they like bomb. You're like, now they hate you more. There's this one comic. She's a very, very nice woman. I'm not gonna say her name.
Hang on 1 second. Dude, shut up.
There's one comic, very funny, nice person, so I'm not gonna say her name, but she apparently was like in the background of a fucking she was in the background of a sketch that didn't make it to air on SNL. So she uses SNL as a credit, and I'm like, they're gonna know you were
the expectations here.
But also too, it's insane because it's like they're gonna know you weren't on SNL. Why would you do that?
The expectation level. If I go, hey, I'm funny, and then I'm not, then I'm a liar. I look like I'm a liar, and what's my character? That assaults my character. That offends your belief in me.
Yeah. It's crazy. When people ask me, they're like, do you have any credits? I'm like, just tell them the name of my podcast. So hopefully if they like me, they remember it. Like it's not gonna matter. My credits aren't gonna matter if I don't fucking do good. You know what I mean?
Well, I
should just do my credits at the end. You're like, all right, I've been Andy Malafarina. You may have seen me on this shit. Whatever. I don't know.
I was doing this thing where I was having the ring announcers while they were announcing me to the ring hold up their phone and read off my IMDb credits as I'm walking to the ring. And
that's so funny.
It's obnoxious as hell.
It's great.
He was in Shooter archive footage. Mark Wahlberg. We're turning it back to Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg talk. I was an extra in 2 Mark Wahlberg films. I had screen time on Invincible.
Have you been in the background of every Mark Wahlberg film?
Oh yeah. Except for The Happening, and that took place in Philly.
Oh yeah. M. Night shoots all of his shit in PA.
I had to fly to California to get in The Departed in the background.
Really? That was in California? Nice.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know where it was. I'm just making it up. I was definitely not in every Mark Wahlberg movie.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm not paying attention. I'm just taking you literally. I forgot the bit. I'm sorry, Corey. I fucked up.
But it's cool. It's cool. I'll cut it all out. I'm gonna cut it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna take like the last 20 minutes and get rid of it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
As I infamously said before we started recording, I said this infamously. I'm very notorious for never cutting anything. I don't cut anything. I don't know how. So if I tell you I'm cutting something, it's because I'm doing a bit.
Okay. Copy that, Corey.
Oh shoot! Now this just happened.
Yeah, there's no screen anymore. Did your camera break?
The second that I don't know what happened. Hang on a second.
Corey's camera's not working.
Dude, it's funny that's the second that happened. Like the second I said that was the second it happened. So lame.
Pains in the mouth. Check it out.
Panties in the mouth.
Andy Malafarina. Go check it out. Watch me play Call of Duty. I got to level up my battle pass because that runs out in 2 weeks, and I have not been doing that. And if I want to level it up right now, it's going to cost me $40.
Oh,
so
that's
I'm
cool.
gonna have to kill a lot of Nazis. Or no, it's Russians this game. So I'm gonna be a 30-year-old man grinding out some Call of Duty. Yeah, there's so many children on that game. It's crazy. So many children on that game that are just so much better than you at it. It's an obscene amount. What are we doing? Is this my show now, Corey? All right, welcome to Evolving with Andy Malafarina. Corey's dead. Corey has left the chat. I think I'm hosting this now. I have an electric drum kit. Corey, where the fuck did you go, dude? He's having technical difficulties. I don't know. It's my show now. It's my show.
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, Corey, I told him all your secrets when you left.
I know. I could hear you, but I knew you couldn't hear me. So the way I wrap up my show all the time, something went wrong with my internet. The second I started talking about how I don't cut anything and I don't like, it's not my nature. I'm not good at it. So the second I said that was the second my camera went out. So what I do normally to wrap up every show, so I'll do it this way, is I say hypothetically I've gifted you this show. The show now solely belongs to you. Evolving with Corey. Evolving with Andy Malafarina, and you gotta in a very Jerry Springer's final thought type of way, put it all into like a 1 minute bow, wrap it up, say what lessons we can learn from your life lessons and what this conversation's meant, and then at the end of that, after you've done that, just to keep it silly, do your best Alf impression and say, "Hey Willie."
Did you say, "Hey Willie"?
Yeah. Oh crap.
You just want me to do an Alf impression?
Yep.
Didn't he eat cats? Sweetie, can you get our cat? I need to do an Alf impression and eat it. All right. So what did we learn today? Jerry Springer style. We learned a lot. We learned that my favorite movie was Mark Wahlberg talking about his big fat cock. We learned I have a podcast called Pains in the Mouth that you can get for free on iTunes and Spotify. And we learned, let go of shit. Don't hold on to stuff. It's stupid. If it's fucking older than a year and a half, it's older than 18 months, and it's not currently affecting you, let it go. Live your life. Live this life, not someone else's. Do your fucking thing. Be real. Be dope. Go on with your life. And like I say on all my podcasts, be nice. Don't be a dick. And always remember, be about it, bitches. And then what was I supposed to fucking say? Give me a goddamn cat so I can eat it because I'm Alf. That was the quote, right?
Hey Willie. So well, close.
Hey Willie, make with the fucking cats. I'm a fucking alien. Alf out. You pussy Willie. You dumb bitch Willie asshole. All right, I went too far.
That was my favorite one so far. I want to make sure I throw in that if you've spent this amount of time hanging with us, I appreciate the currency of your effort. And man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube page, youtube.com/Corey Castle. Follow me on Twitter at Corey Castle. Make sure you leave a comment if you like it. If you love it, sub it. Go back and there's 100 or 221 other episodes. So appreciate your time and your effort. Same goes directly to you, Andy.
Thank you,
And
Corey. This has been a fucking blast, dude. Thank you for having me.
I can't wait. I hope we could do it again, man. I hope we can get another one in. And
Without a doubt.
and if I can ever be any resource to you, please let me know. I'm happy that this is just the beginning. I'm happy that you're my friend. I'm glad about it, and I can't wait to like capitalize on it somehow. So, meaning like
yeah, dude.
being able to be a resource for you. Like
No,
if
I
you
can't
have
wait.
wrestling stuff you want to talk to me about, absolutely hit me up, dude. I'll give you my number. You can call
No,
me anytime.
I can't wait to take advantage of any positives that you have and make them my positives, Corey.
Yes,
Together we will
exactly.
flourish. Together we'll sprout these fucking wings and crush this world.
I'll spread my wings and I'll learn how to fly.
All right, I have to piss, Corey.
All right, well, dude, you're the best. I love you for this, man. I appreciate you. Be
Thank
fun.
you, man.
Have safe.
Yo, for real, I had a real fun time. This was good to fucking talk shit with you, brother.
Yeah, it
Have a
was,
good
dude.
one,
It
bro.
was awesome. Thanks so much, Andy. Keep it lovely.
Later.
Bye.
Peace.